Friday, baby!
Woo!
Welcome back, internet users.
Welcome.
This is Stegawow's review of Foundation Episode 6, Death and the Maiden. Triple blessings to you all.
Triple blessings.
Triple blessings.
I'm Leblonsky.
I'm Dustin.
We're happy to be here with you, talking about Foundation. Our chat will be filled with spoilers.
That's true. We spoil it.
Yeah, so...
It would be a weird review if we didn't, I think.
Yeah, but just in case.
Yeah.
I want everyone to be aware.
That's fair.
Okay. As of right now, neither of us have read Foundation, but I'm going to be honest, got enough comments and feedback that we should read book 1. I'm doing it. I'm committing.
You can go off and read the book, but I'm going to exist in the bubble that is just what I'm getting out of this show.
We've discussed before, I think would be an interesting dynamic to have one of us having read the books and the other not. So I'm not committing to every book in the canon, just Foundation. Shall we dive in?
All right, let's get into this.
So Gale's voiceover refers to Empire as a false prophet who believes himself to be above the seer's words.
From the stories she heard as a child about Trantor.
And I think it's interesting to kind of reinforce that religious background that Gale has. It's not just everybody else on her planet. It's her too. It's coming up a lot in the comments lately. So it's interesting to see it reinforced in this episode.
In what way? How do you mean?
While Gale is really deeply academic and math driven, she also hasn't completely shunned the seer and the religion of her people. Like, yes, she had her prayer stones removed, but she's still somewhat connected to this culture and this religion.
Is the look of a lack of doubt in Day's eyes in conflict with Gale's beliefs?
So is Empire's lack of doubt a sign of a lack of faith? What is the correlation between faith and doubt?
Day coming out of his hypernet and the caretakers are there. What we learn are called spacers. And it seems like they are engineered, more robot than human.
Well, he says they're engineered for the jump, and he also says they're barely human. So I think if they were full-on roboids like a Demerzel, he wouldn't even call them human. Or maybe it's an illustration of the deeply ingrained hatred of this robot people that you can say something so dehumanizing. I mean, I want a word without the word human in it. That he would feel comfortable saying that right in front of Demerzel, but maybe he doesn't consider her human. Like, maybe she's one of the good ones, but she's still not a human. You see what I'm trying to say?
I see what you're saying. Yeah. The spacers are also the long neck, very Camino. Dad, Tonwee's here. Shout out Camino. Oh, the flower on Demerzel's desk. You want to make up some backstory there? What's going on? Why she got a flower encased in a prism?
That's called a vanity.
I'm sorry?
She's at her vanity. It's where she does her
makeup
and reapplies her skin.
Oh, you didn't like desk?
No, she's not writing any letters or annotating any documents.
A vanity. You're right. It's a vanity.
Yeah, there's a flower in stasis in looks like some kind of Listerine-based gel.
Yeah.
Keep it fresh.
We're going to get a flashback with Cleon the First on his final day. That's where that flower's from. I'm calling it right now. The Leviathan crystal. It's just salt.
Yeah. It's cool salt, though. And it represents the 3 goddesses.
The Maiden, the Mother, and the Crone.
Again, I appreciate the attempt at artful exposition. However, this one felt a little pandering. The factoids that Day is reciting back to Demerzel are like, they live on the moon. No shit, brother, they live on the moon.
I have a different take of this scene than you do. Last episode. No. It couldn't have been last episode. It would have been 4. We talked about how, because that was the first time we saw Dawn, now Day, as an adult. Prior to this, he was the young boy that we had seen 1 through 3. And I had made the point that I think it's weird that they're treating him childishly. And they doubled down in this episode so hard on that, which I think is connected to the fact that our current Dawn that we are watching, there's something going on there. We see so many vulnerabilities in Day throughout this entire episode.
It does kind of put a different light on that interaction. They've doubled down on the incompetence.
He wakes up from his jump, right? And he's confused. He's kind of like disoriented, takes a shower. Demerzel starts quizzing him on his knowledge about the meeting they're about to have. Then he goes down to the planet and meets with Zephyr Halima, and she kind of owns him a little bit. Without having a crowd there, she knows Empire is want for attention. In very quick succession in the beginning of this episode, we're kind of changing the way we see Emperor Day completely.
It's also kind of a bummer to think that this is one of his first ever missions. Like, he's not even supposed to leave the planet. He leaves the planet for the first time ever, and they're like, no parade for you. Here's a cup of salt water. Welcome, Empire.
So is some symbolism in the salt water, maybe?
Here's some womb juice.
Womb juice. That's such a good one.
Take a hit of that, Empire.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. No untested potables. Give it to somebody. Somebody's, ew, drink that real quick.
Well, when she drank it in front of him, I was like, oh, okay, well, he'll drink it then. Oh, no. Yeah, that's a better policy.
Yeah, a straight up.
That's how you survive being the emperor for so long. You don't just drink whatever water they offer you on another planet.
And that is what they learned with Cleon the Fifth.
Wow, they made it 5 generations before they lost one?
Yeah.
I
mean, to that.
Yeah.
I don't know how 4 went down.
Yeah, 4 they got the force fields.
I'm surprised they got force fields before they got food testers.
Yeah.
But you never know.
It's different. Space future.
When you're reactive instead of proactive, things could go crazy.
So we're back on Terminus. They're walking the Aegis wreckage. And our boy Crayon is still alive. I think that's not his name.
Crayola.
That's rude. Don't make fun of people's names.
Sorry, take it back.
Yeah, I mean, that ship disintegrated. It was a ball of fire. And I know they have the little wrist force field. So sure, there's some way that guy was protected in that explosion. But come on.
It wasn't even dirty, though.
So he tells them they're all dead men walking. And they're like,
Army of ghosts.
We're already an army of ghosts. I kind of love that line because it explains why they have such fervor. Like, I think this far into the show, we maybe forget what they've lost. And at times I feel like we're supposed to dislike Farah and the Anacreons because she plays it as such a petulant child sometimes when she's demanding things, and the way she gets upset when she's not getting her way. It's not very like Huntress of Anacreon.
She's more yelly than domineering.
Yeah.
You want to talk about them collecting crew? What a little bitch Louis Perrine is.
I almost kind of enjoy watching Louis squirm.
How could you not?
He's such a weasel.
And that's what he's there for. You got mixed feelings about Farah, but like Louis Perrine, is just a total dweeb that you can just hate on.
Yeah, he's like the bureaucratic red tape punching bag.
5 minutes early is late.
That's right. I forgot that line.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That dweeb.
Farah is looking to recruit. What's the word? Not recruit. Recruit by gunpoint.
Enslave.
Yeah, that's how.
Capture.
That's accurate. A few people to help repair this Invictus.
Indeed.
The legendary ship that they seem to have found.
Yes.
The Destroyer.
Also, fantastic movie starring Matthew Damon.
Oh,
I actually haven't seen Invictus.
Wait, is that the one with the blue guy on the cover?
That's Avatar.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right.
I don't think Matt Damon's in that one.
Okay, anyway. So you may have noticed that we use the foundation font in a couple of places, like particularly for our intro. I've spent far too much time recreating the font from this show, and I'm missing one letter. I don't know if you've ever played Scrabble. Q.
Not a lot of those in common parlance.
When they are displaying each person in Terminus's records,
yes,
there's so much text there. There's got to be a Q in there. I haven't had the time to look yet, but there's got to be a Q in there, and I'm going to finally be able to compile the full font.
I'm really sick of you pausing the episode every time there's text on the screen and going, do you see a Q? Is there a Q in there? I want to say that after the kids rescue Salvor and they drag her out through the tunnels. Gia is a beast, by the way, completely brutal. They're coming out of the wreckage, and Salvor's father and boyfriend almost shoot her and 2 children in a well-lit. It's not even a canvas-covered tunnel. There's plenty of light in that tunnel.
Yeah, I'm starting to question Hugo's eyesight at that point.
And her father.
Yeah.
It's not like 2 random citizens
No,
don't recognize the warden.
Those are small humans. They're called children. I don't think many of those have landed from Anacreon.
This is when Salvor reveals to her father and her Hugo that Harry put her here to get rid of the Anacreons and save everybody. This is Selden's first disaster, was that it?
Crisis, I think is
the
wording they use. But yeah, what a revelation she dropped in like 2 sentences. Not even coherent sentences either. The vault has woken up. Her instincts. Yeah, what even is that line? She's starting to have instincts. The instincts she's been having. Harry clearly put me here. Harry's trying to guide me. I'm going to follow those instincts. So the connection that it seems like Salvor is making is that the vault is Harry, which has never been clearly stated, or it's never been stated clearly that she believes that.
It's not necessarily saying that it is Harry. She's saying perhaps that it is an instrument of Harry's. Put here to enable the furthering of psychohistory and the people of Terminus.
Yeah, that's what I'm getting at.
Okay.
I don't think it's ever been expressed up to this point that Harry is responsible for the vault.
All they've said up to this point is that or is that something we've said? How weird that they know everything about the planet except for that they need hats and that there's this giant thing that repels all life.
I think she says it in a voiceover that it wasn't on any of their surveys and that they wondered for a while if it was something Empire had sent there, and then they just gave up thinking about it. This is the first time where it's like the vault is Harry, and it's dropped very casually and to nobody in particular, Hugo and Abbas.
Well, it seems to me that she's just putting all these pieces together, slowly but surely. So she says that Harry put me here, and really that made me jump to the idea of that embryo bank.
Oh, yeah.
If she truly is an anomaly, this unique thing that can, I guess, receive transmissions from the vault and is impervious to its damaging effects, is she genetically modified? Did Harry do that while she was in the embryo bank that we meet in episode 2?
Right. Is it by design?
And if so, how many outliers did he make? Because they probably banked a lot of embryos on that trip. How did he know that they would use that one? Do you think he made like 9? Like they could have accidentally had 8? Like if something weird had happened and everyone needed to use those 2 people's zygotes.
You got to trust the math. Up until this point, I had assumed that Salvor being an outlier was going to tie back into Faith, which is such a strong part of the story for Gale coming from Synax and leaving Faith for Math. And maybe not entirely leaving it. I always thought that would come back around. But this is making it much more clear cut if Harry had tampered with the embryos.
It still could be. Just because she says that Harry made her, it's still up in the air. But they're leading us to believe that Harry controls the...
Well, we might get some disagreement on that. I don't know. Maybe. I agree with you, but I don't know.
So we're back on the Maiden. The moon. All I have to say about this scene is that Demerzel looks weird. Not wearing her Empire outfit. She's dressed like a believer, I guess.
That's the top of my notes here. Demerzel in luminous garb is... It took us a minute before we were even like, what? That's Demerzel?
Yeah.
Yeah. Strange. I can't believe he even allowed it.
He was really weird about bringing her on planet. Almost like a child who refuses to go somewhere without his nanny.
Yeah.
You're getting off this ship. I am not going anywhere without you.
But this is also off the heels of him asking her about her beliefs.
Yes. We find out she is a luminist.
Yeah. So it seems Demerzel is afforded a lot of leeway.
Earlier she says, my faith could be used against you. And I didn't really see what she was saying.
That was the moment.
That was the moment.
Galat meets with Day, and he gets his clamoring masses.
Yeah, I have nothing to say about Galat. She's just so bland.
She's very bland.
She's exactly what she's supposed to be.
And this scene plays that out pretty well, I think.
Yeah.
I think it's politics as usual.
Yeah.
You know, I'll pay for. Oh, what's the problem? What's the biggest problem you guys have? Water?
Okay, if you're going to be in charge, you guys can have this super nice thing. But the look on Zephyr Halima's face in that moment, heartbroken and angry.
Yeah, I just saw anger. So we kind of glossed over the hunting scene with Day and Dusk. Mm-hmm. I think it's interesting only in that Day is supposed to be leading this traditional hunt, and he's not around because he's off-world. There are a lot of factors at play right now for that things are different for Empire. If Harry is making these predictions that we're headed for crisis, we're definitely seeing it in these little mundanities on Trantor.
If for 10 years Day has been teaching Dawn how to hunt gillyhawks, it's been a long time, and the fact that it's not holding up now might seem small, but kind of contributing to the overall maybe disintegration.
So Dawn ends up nabbing 6 and converting it to 3, and then they go to Caligula's garden.
Little finger in hand way.
Oh my.
It's a day of firsts.
I don't even know what to say about Gossamer Garden, really.
It's the bee's knees.
Yeah, there's a lot of knees showing, that's for sure.
A lot of rubbing, a lot of sensual touching, a lot of girl on girl. I like the line because they're really fixated on none of the liaison's memories will be retained.
Yeah.
Afterwards.
That's important that we know that.
Yeah, they really hammer it home. Dawn is even a little hesitant about it. And she says, my memories of this liaison do not belong to me. They belong to Empire. What a beautiful explanation.
So there's a line where the woman that Dawn brings back to his room, she says, I think she's trying to maybe trying to get the ball rolling. She says, do you want to engage in discourse? I'm versed in many things. I like that in the future, it's still commonplace to hire a prostitute just to talk for a while.
And it's one of her skill sets.
Yeah, she's trained in it.
They didn't go straight to mouth jobs. They were like, hey, sometimes a fella wants to talk.
I'm trained in a lot of we can talk about a lot of things.
You know about falconry? We could talk about falconry.
More like ledges. He's like, what do you know about ledges? Nihilism? Do you know anything about nihilism?
My tummy was in my throat for the entire scene that he and Azurite were on the edge.
I didn't like that.
It was icky.
Yeah.
And exciting.
The music is swelling and beautiful and
chill.
It's very budding relationship, and I felt like it was lying to me that at any moment tragedy was about to strike, or we would learn some brutal dark side of Dawn that we haven't, too much Game of Thrones.
A lot of tension. There was a lot of tension in that scene. Well done. I was just uncomfortable enough the entire time. And then his grandpa brother is like, tell me everything. He's shaking her down for info because she hasn't left yet. So her memories are still intact. It's weird.
Has he, at this point, he tells her, I'll tell them you did a good job.
Yeah.
And as far as you know, you did. Does he sends her away after that, right?
I think they I think maybe they hung out a little bit.
Oh, they had
Yeah.
discourse.
I think they discoursed.
The other course.
They discoursed each other.
That's why he was so adamant about her not being able to remember. Because he told her about the hunt.
Or something. Probably the hunt.
But that's why we see Obrecht later rooting around in the bushes.
That's what he picked up. I thought it was some weird plant. No.
No, he picked up the bird. The other.
I must have just caught it
gillies.
out of the corner of my eye. That's 100% what it was.
And we also learn why he's called Shadow Master.
I literally wrote, Obrecht gets a plant.
No, that's not.
It was not a plant. They just happen to be green. It's the camouflage.
Yeah.
I shouldn't have admitted that. Edit all that out.
Okay.
But we realized that that's why he was a good hunter of the green things, because he's colorblind. So the whole don't look for the color, look for the movement. It's like all he can do anyway. That's why he's like, pow, pow, pow. And that's why he's like, oh no, hide those. He's going to know I have the weird eye.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
That's it.
Pow, pow, pow.
Pew, pew.
Toss, toss, toss.
Toss, 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 toss.
And then Zephyrs' dad dies, and she wants revenge on Farah. We don't have to talk about every single thing that happens. We can just say that. That's all I want to say about it.
Okay, well, I'm going to talk about the most pivotal scene in the show, which is when Salvor gets vaulted mid-strut across to the camp, and she sees Harry and Raish.
She's not vaulted. She's having a vision.
But it's doing the same from the vault.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Are you going to mention the fact that she goes to take a wind reading about 12 feet away from the Anacrean encampment?
Yeah. So right up against this scene, when they get to the camp, I love this. I love this kind of television. When we started this, our episode 1, we've reviewed every episode this season so far. Go back to episode 1. Initially, when we started watching this show, I was like, the way this ended, it would be so cool if they did like a Monster of the Week. We could sign up for many adventures, right? In those old television shows where that is commonplace, one of the things that they do very frequently is they have these stunted emotional conversation between characters, immediately followed by some sort of action scene. Like Dad and Salvor are having like a very emotional conversation about belief and the foundation and why he joined the foundation. Sure, he throws a gross dad joke in there, but it's like heartfelt. And then not even 2 seconds later, they come over the rise to a giant encampment of Anacreans. I love the way those two things are just butted right up against each other. It doesn't even cut. It's straight up like camera pan back and forth between characters over the hill to the Anacrean encampment.
Strolling into the conflict.
Just, yeah, let's casually duck down, and now we're in subversive mode because we gotta get them. It's so dumb, and I love it. That's the kind of shit that you would get in like Hercules or Xena.
Or young Hercules.
I never would. I have.
Okay.
Salvor's laying on the side of the hill, and she wargs into Gale's body.
On the floor?
Well, she gets a little bit of lead time, but eventually she's
she's only
Gale's
Gale
body.
for the last 2 seconds.
So she sees Harry and Raish.
And Harry has these hideous little baby teeth in his adult man head. It's horrifying.
He always has.
I know, but
You can't say that about someone's teeth.
all right, good.
What's wrong with you? That's a real person. Oh, there's something in the hunting scene. After Dawn gets his first kill, Dusk is like, congratulations. Now he hands him the flask. Does Dusk strike you as a whiskey man? What's in that flask?
Whiskey, or the cultural equivalent thereof.
I think it's wine.
Diluted wine.
Hunting wine.
6 proof.
Okay, we can go back to Harry and Raish.
And his hideous baby teeth. We finally get some more of this backstory, a lot of which we have managed to fill in the last couple of episodes on our own. We knew that Harry needed to be martyred. We knew that Raish was supposed to be in that pod instead of Gale. We didn't know that Harry was concerned that Raish was going to doink the whole plan up because he wanted to be with Gale.
And it seems like maybe just prior to this, what we see, Raish is coming to Harry like, look, you can fix this. I love Gale, and I can't martyr you and stay here with Gale. And Harry's basically saying, no, you idiot. Gale is not worth an entire galaxy. I don't care about your love. I don't martyr myself. You martyr me.
It's a big guilt trip. If you don't do this the right way, Raish, then everyone's sacrifices have been for nothing.
He's very much the actions of one individual can affect a galaxy.
Comes up a lot in this episode.
Comes up a lot.
At first I was taking umbrage because he makes such a big point of the fact that psychohistory cannot predict the actions of individuals. I was like, wow, you're really getting into the actions of individuals here. He's not using psychohistory here. He's just using his eyes. And then I was like, okay, that's fair.
Harry says, don't you trust the math?
I hate the math.
I hate the math. I love that line.
Yeah. Yeah, you did.
I really do. This whole conversation, like they're laying out the plan, right?
Yeah.
We've seen security footage of this room, of this moment.
Yeah, so theoretically, there's just a tape of this conversation.
A whole confession of
tape,
exactly what's
folks.
going on, play by play. And Lewis probably had access to it. And Lewis watched it and still said, I don't know, Raish.
That dweeb.
I can't believe you did this to poor Harry.
You're
going out the airlock.
Harry's smart enough. He hit the pause or the scramble or the cone of silence.
While he was bleeding out.
No, before. So Hugo finally gets to Salvor and pulls her out of her reverie. And we get a really good look at what a terrible, terrible spot she picked for this wind reading.
What even was that run? Where was she going? There's no cover. She's on an exposed hillside about 20 feet away from the nearest guy. But we had to play up the fact that her little reverie kind of cost them the element of surprise.
Even if you're not planning to have a seizure, don't run that way. Salvor's real shook up when her daddy dies.
Yeah, her and Hugo have a hug out moment here, which was a really cool shot, actually. I'll give him that. I like the look of it. Back on Maiden.
I loved this scene. Zephyr Galat is giving this speech that's very clearly a speech about nothing and how great is Empire or whatever.
Just kind of status quo.
And Zephyr Halima just like comes in being a weirdo, acting like it's totally normal, and starts giving this speech. And Galat, being so status quo normie, can't be like, hey, no, get out of here, it's my speech time. She's just like, oh, okay, go ahead. And this speech is such a slow burn. Like, you know it's not going to be good for Empire. You know immediately, like, ooh, this isn't good. But it starts so innocuously. In fact, for a moment, it almost sounds like she's singing the praises of Empire. The idea of recycling a soul and keeping this one iteration alive. It's not even like a hard one. It's just such a gentle, easy turn to, it's wrong to do it this way. This is messed up and weird.
Well, the main point, I think, is that a soul, even one 400 years old, is never perfect. There's infinite room to improve. And that Empire is claiming perfection is a fallacy.
I like that aspect because she does outright say to think that you're going to, some think that you're going to achieve a higher level of enlightenment. And it's a joke. People laugh. Oh, I thought it was beautiful. I thought it was beautiful to watch the realization come over Day's face, and even the faces of the people in the crowd, to have it even drawn out just a touch more at the end when she concludes her speech and she gets the applause and the bows, and the last few people don't bow, and then Demerzel is the last one to bow. Like, it just draws this delicious moment out where I think what I love about it is at no point does she say a single word against Empire.
Yeah, she never has to, and she knows it. She's looking him dead in the eye.
Yes.
She knows where she's got him.
And he goes from unsure to displeased to downright uncomfortable. I'm not seeing the same level of rage and homicide in this Day's eyes.
I wonder what the repercussions will be.
I'm also very curious. I'm wondering if this might be the first time we see Day respond in a novel way.
So Hugo slaves the ship to Salvor.
Yeah.
Back on Terminus.
Brilliant, quick thinking. No way to undo that.
No way to undo it.
Can't.
You can't undo it.
You can only do that once in a lifetime.
One time and then the computer fizzles out. That's it.
It's weird. It's a weird safety feature, but you know what? Good thinking, Hugo. Hugo is so cool.
Hugo's so
He's
cool.
so cool.
He's so cool. I'm so glad we got Hugo back in this episode.
Yeah.
Love him.
He's
Love
my
him.
favorite septuagenarian.
Does that mean fake pirate?
He gives Salvor the best flying instructions of all time. Grab the controls and trust yourself.
Trust yourself. That's the end of Foundation, I guess. Is that what she's alluding to with the final crowns flip? I know things. I know how to fly ships without ever flying a ship before.
Yes.
What was that? I'm not entirely sure what she was saying with that.
When she used it before, kind of as almost a psychological tool against Farah, wasn't she saying, I'm more than lucky? Wasn't it to reinforce that point?
So she's saying, like, I'm gonna win.
She's saying, yeah, that shouldn't have worked.
At least she acknowledged it.
Yeah.
Well, I guess that's it. Do you have anything else you wanted to say?
If you could have the DNA for Lucky, would you want it?
Have you seen the Harry Potter Lucky Potion?
Felix Felicitas.
Hell yeah.
Do you think that what Salvor has is as good as that?
Oh, she's like Domino from Deathpool.
Like Slevin?
Yeah, like, it'll always go my way. Always built for luck. Would you?
Yeah, it's a stupid question.
Yeah, I guess you didn't really give me an alternative. It's like, if you could be...
I prefer to be unlucky. I like to struggle. I'll learn more this way. This is how the seer made me.
If you could build your DNA for luck or being really good at working in the laundry.
You're important even if you work in the laundry.
Ugh. That's it for us.
We're done. We did it. Thanks, Selden.
I can't wait to see this budding romance between our two emo...
Oh my god, we didn't talk about the emos. That was...
The emo gardener and the emo Dawn kissing on the ledge.
It's been real and it's been fun. This show's really ramping up for me. I'm excited for episode 7.
Thanks for watching, guys. If you like this review, maybe throw us a subscribe, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Thanks.